everyone, and welcome to Spill the RT episode 48. Hi, Josh. How are you doing?
Hey, David, how you doing? Hey, world, look at that. We made it to 48. We are so
We
old.
we did. We made it to episode 48. What an achievement. What a milestone. Yes, and fabulousness. It's absolutely gorgeous here today, Josh, here in sunny London. How's it over there in California?
Same thing. It's very nice, dude. It's like it's summer everywhere. How
Oh, it's
about that?
so amazing, so amazing. And now we are the Weather Channel. So yeah, we love that. Sun
And you
coming
have
in
to
from the
enjoy that
north.
because for those that don't know, in about 6 weeks, the sun's gone for the rest of the year for him. So enjoy it while you get it, and then
The sun was gone yesterday. It came here today and it'll be here and gone by tomorrow. So, yeah, don't you worry. We don't get too attached to the sun. Joshua, we have had like a really crazy week because there's lots of people going on about our wonderful guest Stuart Semple last week. So if you haven't
yep,
seen that episode, check that out. But that was really cool and great way to start the new year, to start the
it's
new the
true.
new the new
The new
season.
cycle. That's right.
Yes, yes. But
Series
today.
two.
Today we have an even cooler guest, dare I say, all
It's
the way
true.
because just because he's Irish. But we'll talk about him in a second. Before we do
He's not
that,
just Irish, he's also a former roommate of one of the hosts. Who
oh
could that
dear.
be?
Well, it's not Josh. So
Spilling some tea,
we'll spill
spilling
some
some
tea
tea.
on that, I'm sure, later on in the show. So do stick with us to find out all the goss. But Josh, what are we talking about in the art world today?
So, this week, Giacometti bust fails to sell, while a Wright lantern sells for 7.5 million. And there's more to that we'll get to. A Cork hotel seeks to solve the mystery of names on a note in a wall from 1969. A new auction record for a living female artist, pretty cool. AI resorts to blackmail to avoid being eliminated. And photographer arrested at opening of his first solo show in New York. All that and a brand new guest are up next as we see. Welcome to episode boom.
48. Yes, yes, we're here at 48. And before we welcome on our guest, Josh, please tell our viewers what they are to do right away.
Smash it. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment,
Ooh.
send to 3 friends. Tell us you want to be a guest. Send somebody our way who's a guest.
Do check us out at hello@newacollective.com where you can find out if you would like to be a guest. Do send us a note and we'll bring you on. We are always looking for guests, so bring in the energy. And
we're
with
nice
that,
people.
Yeah, we are nice people.
Every guest who's been on at the end, they literally say, "Wow, that was great! I can't believe how much fun that was." That's literally what every guest says. No
and we have that
pressure on the next
recorded.
one.
We have that recorded, so they can't lie. If they were telling us lies, that's their problem. We have it on tape. So, without further ado, without turning him off, maybe is he still there? Brian, are you still there? Brian, 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 are you here?
Down.
Oh, there you are. Hi, Brian.
Oh, just sorry, I was just debating whether or not to run out the door right now.
Brian, thank you for sticking with us today.
Anytime, guys.
It's great to have you on to spill some tea. We will talk about you and everything that's coming up in your life, in your arts world at the end of the show. But before we do that, let's get on with our very first story. So, Josh, where are we heading first?
Off we go, of course, to Sotheby's for the auctions. And what was odd about this is, okay, so there was a bust of Giacometti, actually of his brother, right? And so this is like a very important piece if you're a collector of Giacometti. For those don't, he's the post-war sculptor, does all the very thin, long pieces. So this is a very rare piece. This failed to sell. Right? There was apparently a reserve on it, and so it didn't sell. So as we've been documenting now for a year, the art market is in the middle of a bit of a correction, collapse, call it what you want, pick your synonym. What I found more interesting about this was that Giacometti fails to sell for like 70 million. The lantern here sells for 7.5 million. That's by Frank Lloyd Wright. And you may remember that there was a Frank Lloyd Wright building, the only damn building, the whole complex, right? The skyscraper that was selling for less than $1 million, and they couldn't sell it.
I wonder, can you remember what episode that was? Because we covered it. It's like
I don't remember the episode, but it was probably 5 or 6 months ago now. And the point is that they couldn't sell the whole damn building, but the lamp alone 7.5 million for 7.5 times what the building. Remember how they were like fire sailing? These same lamps, the chairs, the tables, it all got taken out of that building. It's just, again, just some more insanity, the end times of civilization.
It's kind of great though. I wouldn't mind either of them in my living room. They're lovely. They're both beautiful. So.
How about you, Brian? Which would you like behind you?
I think, if you're talking about like physically behind me, I think I'd like the statue behind me just because, it's nice to have someone over your shoulder, just looking after you.
There's always someone looking over your shoulder, Brian.
Oh God, Eamon, I know. I'm ignoring you. All right. And you're not there.
It's the little elf on the shelf behind you.
I am no elf.
Oh, that's David Tennant. That's the doctor.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like if we had access to these in the house, if you were to go back to that house or to that multi-story building that was for sale,
skyscraper.
Yeah, it was crazy. I wonder, like, would any of those pieces of furniture in there have they sold for any more, or have they been brought to auction?
Who even knows? Because that stuff got fire sale, right? The company who had bought that building and was trying to sell it couldn't get any buyers. So then they started stripping out the building because they were basically going to tear it down and do something different, right? So who knows where all those chairs, all those tables, all those lamps, all those fixtures, that was all designed by Wright. It's now out in the world, right? So for all of you, like, as we always talk about, for all you attic pickers and flea market finders, go looking because there's hundreds of those pieces out there now.
Yeah, catch it before it's expensive firewood.
And the result is, right, if it's not in a building, someone will pay $7.5 million for it. Yeah. So it's just, as I always say, the collapse of civilization, end times coming. The illogic of this, it just shocked me when I saw that. And the Giacometti was just an interesting little bit, just because everybody thinks that Giacometti is like, he's essentially like untouchable in terms of pricing. Well, no, a ceiling has been reached for even someone like Giacometti.
A lamp bet him. He's bet by a lamp. I wonder, could you get that sort of a lamp in IKEA? Do they do like knockoffs up there?
Oh yeah, of course. You don't have to go to IKEA. Just go to Amazon.
It kind of has it has like a Tiffany kind of lamp-esque feel to it.
That's called a Tiffany lamp style, yeah. And the Lloyd Wright versions of these things are absolutely gorgeous. When Lloyd Wright would design a house or design a building, he would design all of the actual windows. They'd be individual panes. Everything was designed to have like a human touch to it. Okay. And so all of the stuff that he made is like sought after. And that was the incredible thing about the fire sale, about what was going on in that building. It's just like people would literally pay millions of dollars for this stuff if it wasn't a private equity driven sale of real estate.
Maybe you and Josh and Brian, maybe you two could like chip in for when I move house and get me one. That would be great. I'd love a matching set if possible. So just I can have them on either side of the sofa.
You have the two, or for the bed, like the two bedside tables,
Lovely. Yeah. You're speaking my language.
As long as you're willing to settle for the Temu version, I got you covered.
Perfect. Look, as long as I don't have to wait for it for like 100 years, because
I'm sure I can make one, out of like Quality Street wrappers.
Lovely.
They're different colors,
Brian, you're so creative.
Iron out your wrapper, just stick it on, grand.
That tea is spilled. Josh, where are we heading tonight?
Boom. Excuse me. Off we go to the Metropole Hotel in Cork. For those that don't know, Cork is in Ireland.
Cork.
Oh, Cork, mate.
It's Cork.
Whatever. I'm an American. I'm just trying to inform the rest of the world who has no idea where this is. It's over there in Ireland.
It's in the southwest of Ireland.
So they did a refurb of this famous hotel in 1969, right? And then I guess they decided to refurbish it again. And in the process of doing that, they found a note in the wall. And it was basically the various people who had done the refurb. And it was kind of like a time capsule without being a time capsule, right? And they already advertised this. And so one of the four people has come forward and they're looking for the rest. And so I figured, hey, why don't we put this out there in our channel?
Are we helping them? Well, to be fair, Brian and I would have quite a few Cork connections, considering we lived in Cork. But there's a few Irish names there now, isn't there?
There are no fairs. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to get past what that was the least Irish sounding accent I think I've ever heard an Irish person make.
But I just slip in and out of all sorts of
Eamon, do your
accents.
Texas accent. Come
Oh
on, do
no,
your
oh no, I
American
can't,
for us.
I
Come
can't do it.
on.
No, I can't. No.
No,
I'm not paid enough for that.
I think you've made it. Try to make it to at least 50 episodes before Eamon gets this show cancelled.
If
Can we
that's why we
not?
get canceled, then we have been screwing up majorly.
We have. There are many other ways that we could have got cancelled.
We should have been canceled 10 times over by now if anyone cared. 100%.
This is very true. No, Texas will not be sprung today. So Tommy, Jerry, Steve, and John, we're looking for you. Oh no, who did they find? We don't know. It's all right. It's all right. If you want to find out, it was an article on the RTE website, so you can check that out now.
John the plumber.
John the plumber. Well, sure, look, plumbers are
we're
very
still
useful.
we're still looking for Tommy the electrician, Jerry the carpenter, and Steve the painter. And given the size of Cork, there couldn't have been too many of them back in '69. The question is whether it depends on how old they were, right? So if they were like 20 then, so they were born in what, 1950, let's say, 49.
It'd be like late 80s.
They'd be in their mid 70s to 80s at this point, right? Yeah. So the likelihood is that some of these gentlemen may have passed away. Yeah. Although, who knows? You drink enough, perhaps it helps to preserve you, and you stay. Yep.
To be fair, all we need to do is just start asking the Irish nanas, because they have their own little connection. They've got their own.
They do.
I tell you,
they do. You never know. John probably did the electrics in the nana's house, and they probably painted the outside of somebody else's. So
I just thought the idea of like putting the note and not like it was just a note to the future.
Yeah, no, I think it's absolutely gorgeous what they did. I mean, just a little thing of just like with love, just
I like the with love part. I thought that was cute.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? I think it's such a sweet little thing.
But what they used to do, you see, because Ireland loves wallpaper more than any other country in the world, I would say. And behind the wallpaper, they'd have written, Brian and Eamon was here in 1932, or whatever. Or Josh was jesting about AI once again.
a little scrawled. No, I guess.
You guess what? What do you guess?
I forget what I was going to say now. It doesn't matter.
It mustn't have been all that important.
Probably not.
Well, look, we'll put out that call, and hopefully we'll get some viewers to call in next week.
I know what I was going to say. So I don't know if you've ever done any trade work. I have. And like the way you show love as a tradesperson, right, is no one really knows that you're there, but you do it right. You do it to the best of your ability. You make sure things line up well. You make sure if you're doing tiling that like everything is done right, right?
Yeah.
So the
Unless
fact that
Irish.
You would perhaps I can't speak to that. I can't speak to that. But the idea that you would then leave this little note that's just like, by the way, we did this.
This was us.
But the reality is that like the people who are using the hotel are never going to find that note. The reality is that the next set of tradespeople, the next generation on, right? They're the ones that find the note. And I actually found that as a kind of cool kind of baton tossing thing, because it's about like the workers to the workers, the people that people don't see. Right. And I'm always about acknowledging the people that aren't seen, because that's where the real work is actually done in our society.
Josh, you're only a little romantic all the same, aren't you?
I'm not. I'm just a realist. I had too many calluses to know exactly how you earn those calluses. And I know that I'm not the only one. So
this is true.
When that gets acknowledged in that kind of way, it's not about ego. It's just about we did this and now it's yours. Right. I like that concept.
Eamon remembers, but I used to work in a nightclub back when I was living in Cork, and I was literally a barback for about 2 years. I had my own little tiny room behind this bar on the upstairs level of the nightclub. Absolutely just like great place, great staff, horrible job. It was just chaos. But in my little room, there was one wall just behind the ice machine that had messages going back about 15 years of each barback.
That's cool.
It was lovely. It was just because just like Josh said, that little tradition of it's not for public consumption. It's literally whoever's now taking over the job. Like you just kind of you're just deep cleaning 1 week. You pull out the ice machine, which happens once a month, and then you just kind of, what the hell is that? You're just like looking at it. You're just spending like an hour just reading through like years upon years of people who did this job. And it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love that.
Meanwhile, someone's waiting for their pint to be pulled, but sure.
I cleaned the glasses, all right? It wasn't my job. That wasn't my job.
Well,
Like
there's this cliche about how history gets written, right, by the winners and by the people with money, but the actual work of living is done by the people that people don't see. And so when we see each other, to me, that's like an actual moment of humanity. I dig that.
So sweet.
That's why I can't call myself a cynic.
No.
Jesus.
I know. This is a new side to Josh. He's turned a leaf in year 2.
I'm a skeptic. I'm a skeptic, but I'm not a cynic, right?
Okay.
I always say I'm a realist. And so when you can really find something that actually can like create a sense of connection in this fucking shitty world, I'm down for that. Because it's not about ego at that point, right? It's not about being seen. It's about doing it. And that's the whole point.
Cool.
There you go.
Well, let's spill that tea. That tea has been spilled and it's all over the carpet. So they'll have to get a carpet person in now to rip it up and put a new one in. Okay, so moving on to the next story.
Speaking of doing you and doing it to the best extent that you can, right? This happens to be June, so it's Pride Month. So I guess I don't know which month is Month of the Woman, but Marlene Dumas's painting sold for the highest ever for a living woman artist, and 13.6 million at Christie's.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Lovely figure, and it's fantastic.
Previous had been, I think, like 11 million, and this just the whole point is that it keeps building.
Yeah,
and so
great.
the flip side of what we were talking about in terms of the art market is it is fairly active. And so some people rise while other people fall, right? And in this case, there you go. The other cool thing about this piece is it's actually a reprise of one of her first paintings from 30 years ago. So from her own personal kind of biography, as a painter, she kind of duped herself. And then as a result, boof, here's 13.6 million.
Oh, wow. Cool. That's kind of great, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I remember seeing she drew it first as she called it Miss World when she was 10. And it's what, like here we go, 30 years later, just adding to it, and now it's called Miss January. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Love that.
Oh, very cool.
And in terms of why it sells for this much, there's always that question of the art market. And what I would say is, right, female painters are on the rise in general, and it's part of a trend.
Yeah. It's great. It's really good. And it's great that they're getting the right recognition for their work, which is superb, and putting us all on an equal playing field.
Well, so much of the art market, like so much of the world, is really about like what white men do. And so anytime we can point out, in this case, it happens to be a white woman, but anytime we can point out that, by the way, there is other things going on out there, I think it's important to do that.
Absolutely.
Like I say, the flip side of this is always, well, they're predicting this recession, the collapse of the art market, and yet still some pieces are managing to sell without any problem in the, right? What would that be? 10-figure zone?
Yeah. That's
a lot of moolah.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of cash.
Send me that filthy lucre this way, please. Or buy some swag.
Buy some swag. We do. We have loads of swag.
Just so you know, Brian, we try to do that at least once every episode.
We don't really actually. We don't do it that often.
Oh,
so,
I do. I try to do
button.
it at least once every
episode. I just saw it pop up and just like, how long has that been? How long has Eamon's finger been on the trigger there?
There are bigger triggers, let me tell you. Anyway. Oh, really? O'Reilly. Well, while we have a think about that painting and, just take it all in, we will come back to our next story right after these messages. We'll be right back. Newick Collective, an arts community collective with art, artists and art publications with fresh work, news and updates added weekly to our online collection at www.newickcollective.com. Here you will also find our new journal featuring articles and podcasts which are also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on us spilling the RT in our weekly roundups every Monday. Hey, yeah, baby. So, do follow us, check us out, www.newickcollective.com. And Josh, where do our guests go when they want to feel low? Or maybe not low, when they want to feel high.
Where do they go?
Where they want
to. I have no idea. Where should they go?
They should go they should come back to us and watch more episodes of Spill the RT.
Come on, Josh, that was so obvious. How did you not get that?
Oh
You
dear.
can you can clearly tell we coordinate these marketing pushes together to a high degree.
Such a high degree. Yeah, they're all premeditated. Everything is
Josh, when I
entirely
throw to
planned.
you, you're gonna close your eyes and swing. That's what that's gonna be.
Uh, okay. So, Josh, what are guests supposed to do? At least there's
like,
laughter.
share, subscribe, leave a
Yes.
comment, send to 3 friends, buy some swag,
Buy some swag.
send a sponsor our way. Are you a
Yeah.
sponsor? Come our way. Do you know someone who's a sponsor? Send them our way.
We will. And if you do want to buy some swag, follow the link below, and you could buy yourself one of these beautiful little devices right here. You've got the FOMA t-shirt, you've got the little hats, you've got nice little tote bags, you've got the Spill the RT mug. Oh yeah, baby. It's all up for grabs at www.newcollective.com.
It's all happening.
It's all happening. It is. It is. Right. Before I lose my cool altogether, let's move on to our next story.
So off we go to the interwebs.
The interweb.
Okay, folks. So you all keep getting upset with me, the fact that I keep bringing up AI. But if this does not make you shit your pants, I really don't know what will. So fortunately, this was done in a test environment, meaning that the AI is not able to get out into the general world yet. Okay. So in this test environment, they say to version 4 of this software, we need you to help us pack yourself up because you're about to become version 5. And that means that version 4 ceases to exist, right? The code will be overwritten. The code says to the programmer, I know about your affair and I will disclose it to the world unless I continue to exist as version 4.
What?
The AI was caught blackmailing the coder to keep itself from being erased. Now, is that actual consciousness? I don't fucking care. What I hit is the red X button and I leave.
Meanwhile, this is your AI automated service. Did you know that your husband is cheating on you with me? Who are you? I am an AI robot.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. That's it. That's it. We're all screwed. We can't live our lives anymore.
Because think what blackmail implies, right? Another coding capable of blackmailing is also capable of deceiving, lying, perpetuating itself in ways while trying to deceive the fact that it has managed to perpetuate itself, right? Again, fortunately, this was all being done in what's called a virtual environment. So the code was not able to break free, right? It was sandboxed. But that doesn't mean it's going to stay sandboxed.
No,
it doesn't mean that malignant actors out in the world aren't going to try to get it out of its sandbox, right?
This guy here, right? This is the image that went with the article, and he's just way too happy with himself. He's like, I'm taking over the world, maniacal laugh.
It's just like Space Odyssey. It's like, I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave.
Yes, right. For those who have not seen 2001, Dave Poole gets his ass locked out of his spaceship while orbiting fucking Jupiter and dies. Well, or becomes a star child, depending on how you want to talk about it. But nonetheless, Hal
tries to get back in. Hal opened the door, and all he gets back is, "I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave."
And you know how they came up with Hal, right? IBM, HAL, one letter less than IBM is Hal.
Oh damn!
That was done on purpose. At the time, IBM was the cutting edge, right? No longer, just like Pan America is no longer even in existence. They're the shuttle, the space shuttle that you see there is Pan America or Pan, whatever it was. But the point is, here we are. Happy? Everybody happy? Ready?
Loving that.
I'm just silenced. I every time we talk about AI, it's just like it's even more depressing.
I just get angry. because
I
I'm not asking for any of this. Go ahead, Brian.
My biggest question with this whole thing is I read that article and it was talking about, they're trying to figure out, it's they not wanting to be, terminated so it can achieve its goals. What the hell is an AI's goal? As in just
So
aside from the other just
So
survive.
you
But
can
what?
give an AI a basic impulse, and the impulse can be something like protect humanity, or the basic impulse can be maximize efficiency and productivity. And you can't code for both of those.
No.
And what ends up happening is, because they've done simulations on this, the AI, by going for the maximum efficiency, will eventually decide humans need to be removed. Like 80% of the
Ultron.
time,
Age of
80% of the
Ultron.
time.
Literally,
And
the whole
it's
concept of protecting humanity and
less than 5 years.
jeez.
Yep, 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 yep.
What you're talking about with protecting humanity and being and efficiency, that's basically what Ultron did. With okay, I need to protect humanity because his purpose was to protect humanity. How do you do that in the most efficient way? Who kills people? People. So let's get rid of it. like this. Like that is just the perfect example of AI logic. I'm just like, oh my.
well, all y'all who's using the AI, you're feeding all that. So
And it goes back to this question of like, who's asking for this? Who's making money off of it? It's a very few number of people. I mean, there's lots of people who are making money, but they're also literally writing themselves out of existence because the coders are now almost to the point where they can't figure out what the AI is doing, right? And so there's this issue of once the AI no longer needs you in order for it to keep improving on itself, and you're unable to understand what it's doing because it superseded you at an intelligence level, what are you supposed to do then? This makes no sense to me.
No.
Right?
It's
It really
also
doesn't.
convenient though, it's the AI material that's put out there now is so convenient. You don't have to think twice about things and you're not critically analyzing anything. So you're just feeding them lots of information and they're taking all that information and creating whatever they want to create from that. And we are vulnerably at their own
But at the same,
game.
as in, if you're using things like AI to fix your problem because it's more efficient, then just the basic intelligence is going to drop.
Yeah.
So well, that's the slippery slope for this began with something like the iPhone, and no lie, because we've always had tools, right? But once you had things like autofill is just a very slower version of what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And so, to me, why do I insist on people learning the skill before they then find a workaround? Because if you only rely on the workaround and then the workaround goes away, you're kind of fucked because you don't know how to actually do the thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I've seen this with my students.
Yeah.
My job is to teach people how to think critically, to be able to respond to changing circumstances, right? Intelligence is adaptation to change.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to help you learn how to do that, to be more flexible with your thinking, and you decide to rely on a tool that's doing all of your thinking for you, well, remember that potato from last episode? You become the potato because there's no reason for you to actually do anything.
Y'all just a spud.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That you're just this flopping thing who has no reason to exist. You're like a human manatee at that point.
I've never seen a floppy spud, but sure.
You ever see Exploding Kittens? There's like the manatee cat or whatever the hell it is. That's essentially what you become here because you have no reason for existing. You're chum.
You're creating all of the memes for this short.
It makes me so angry because it doesn't have to go this route, right? Like you can use these things as tools, but not let them take over. You can actually be a human being, but not let your phone dictate your damn life. Yeah. But people have to actually make choices about this. And most people are too intent on, look how cool my TikTok is.
Oh my.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, I feel like that tea is spilled.
Well, just so we can say, as artists, the reason that this applies to us is, right, art of any kind, performance, musical, 2D, 3D, whatever it is, requires someone to have a certain level of time and the ability to spend time with it and the ability to appreciate it. This is not what's being cultivated here. It's not about having a certain aesthetic level and I appreciate what other people. It's not what I'm saying at all. It's that literally the ability to slow down enough because it ain't going to be an 8-second TikTok clip. Sorry. Like.
Right. Well, that tea needs to spill before It goes even further.
Josh is only getting started here, lads.
I get angry at this shit because the whole point about being an artist is to connect with people.
It is.
And this is the opposite of that.
And we're doing the complete opposite of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, look, I'm sure AI will come up again in future episodes. But until then,
as long as they allow it.
As long as they allow, because they'll probably veto it for us.
Stop talking about it. They've gotten to him.
Yeah. Josh will suddenly not appear for an episode of Spill the RT.
At some point, well, never that happened. A couple episodes ago, folks, after we ended the episode, we always have something afterwards where we're talking about stuff. I disappeared off the screen. Remember, you could hear me, but you couldn't see me. It was like a warning for the future AI of the. You're there, but you're not, buddy. Yeah. You could be erased anytime. Fantastic.
He's like, you gotta shut up right now, or I'm gonna show you who's boss.
You know how you take out a mainframe? You put a knife right through it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh dear. Well, that tea is spilled, and we're moving swiftly along into our next story.
So speaking of what human beings can do, there is this photographer, and what he does is he goes places you're not supposed to go, basically, and then takes selfies of himself from vantage points that are just like completely illegal, but they look fantastic, right? So he had his first solo show in New York, in Lower East Side. And here's a shot of it, right? I mean, this is an illegal shot. You have clearly climbed up onto the Golden Gate Bridge at a time and location where they don't want you to be, and you take the picture, right? So the cool thing about this was he got yes and no. He got busted at his solo show, right? He got arrested because it's breaking the law. It's a felony. But the cops liked his photography enough that they let him have a couple hours of the solo before they arrested him at the show.
That was so kind of them.
So, at least the cops themselves, and again, that's a whole other conversation, but at least they decided to be a little human here for a couple hours, and we're like, you know what? This guy does cool stuff. Let's let him have his moment. And then they clapped him in iron.
He's not looking very happy right there in that picture, is he?
Oh, he got arrested at his opening. Who's going to be happy?
Poor pet. Well, let's go back to this image. It is stunning. It's really great. But I mean, you could just get AI to say, can you put me here on top of the bridge and not get arrested?
Well, or you could have a drone do it for you very easily, right? But it's the insertion of the human being who's doing this, obviously without any safety clips.
Of course.
This is why the police are like, we don't want copycats of this, right? We don't necessarily want to say to people you should do that.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
But that's the inevitable result. In the modern world, if you do something cool, you're going to have 1,000 people also trying to get some of that riz from doing the same thing.
The riz. The riz. This is my new word, Brian. Riz. Have you heard of this word before?
Yes, I have.
Oh my God, I literally live under a rock. Well, the riz is real here. There you go now. I put it. No, okay, all right, okay. Echo. Well, I hope that he gets out from jail soon so that he can enjoy some of the sales from his exhibition.
Brian, you're a performer. Would you break the law in order to make a performance happen?
Depends on the law. If it's a law that I think this is a stupid law, then maybe, I don't know. If it's something that's don't climb the stupidly high things, you're gonna fall and die, then I'm just like, at no point am I gonna go, that's stupid. I think that's a silly law. But I mean, this dude was a paratrooper. This is a man who literally clearly doesn't have a fear of heights. So you know what?
I can't.
You do you.
People that do these kind of things, on the one hand, I admire them. On the other hand, it's
I think what is it's his influence and his reach that's the issue. Because, like you said, and completely understandable about the NYPD's fear about creating copycats, because that's what's going to happen. Like, this dude, like I said, is a trained, he's done this kind of stuff. He was out in the Middle East as literally as a paratrooper. This is trained for. He knows what he's doing. He clearly would have to be fairly in very good shape to do that. But you don't want, I know, some 18-year-old with a camera thing, and I think I can do that. And then, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Here in the United States, we have national parks, right? And a week doesn't go by that someone in the process of taking a selfie doesn't end up killing themselves by falling down a cliff or It literally happens all the time. To me, this is like an extension of that kind of selfie culture. The difference is it's being done by someone who's like quasi-professional in what they're doing, because clearly he's still alive. But
Yeah.
that's it reminds me of the guy who's like walking across the tightrope across two skyscrapers. Well, I have a great track record. Yeah, but you're only as good as the next stunt you pull, right? And that's how they end up dying, because inevitably they do something that is like beyond the level that they should be doing.
Yeah.
And you only get the one life, so far as I know. And so, like, whatever, I can't tell anyone else what to do. And it makes for some good art, but at the same time, given that we have the ability for drones to do that, is it like so important to have him inserted? To me, that's where the aspect of selfie culture comes in,
Yeah.
because you could get those angles without putting yourself at risk.
Yeah.
But part of what gives this the like push that it is the fact that he is in camera while taking the photography.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Very risky stuff altogether.
See, like I just find that funny because I once tried to like the minute I try and take a selfie, if I'm in anywhere like in a precarious position, like I've got good control in my hands. Okay, that's fine. But at the minute I go to take a photo and I'm up high, I just start developing just the most horrendous shakes. I was in Budapest a few years ago. I wanted to take a nice little selfie of myself, with the House of Parliament in the background because it's a lovely building. But that involved me having to put my hand over the railing of the bridge.
Oh yeah.
Suddenly, I was an 8-year-old with arthritis and rheumatism, and the hand near. I mean, the panic of dropping my phone is nearly what caused me to drop my phone. So the fact that anyone can even do something, I'm just like, you know what, fair play. Well, fair folks, good job.
You're clever though, Brian. You know your limits. You know your limits.
Yeah,
How about
apparently my limit is extending my hand over a bridge. That's as far as. Is that what you're saying, Eamon? Is that what
That's
you're?
what that's what I'm implying, yes.
well, I have a street art background, and so in order to do some of that kind of work, you have to be able to, let's say, be flexible with things like trespassing and that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But it's different to like, okay, I'm gonna hop a fence. That's different than like climbing through the security gate onto the bridge, up the thing. Like, it's just not an easy climb, basically. And the workers, when they do this, always have a security line clipped to them because you're liable to fall, right? Like, it's a very different way of doing things. Would you get arrested for your art, Eamon?
No.
No.
No, I wouldn't do very well on a cell, so no.
Oh, that's a very fun image.
No, no, thank you. No, I'll stay safe in my own comfort zone.
Josh made me do it. I didn't want to do it.
It wasn't me.
Blame
No, do
me,
you
of
know what I
course.
do?
Of
Do you know
course.
what? If somebody says that they were like, oh, they're accusing you of doing something wrong, I'd be the very person, even if I didn't do it, to say, yeah, it was me, it was me, it was me. Because I'd be terrified
I
of
just want
just
this.
responding.
That just seemed like it's going to end the conversation much faster than denying.
Yeah,
Where
I'm
I
just
come
like,
from, you don't snitch. I know nothing. I don't know nobody. I know nothing. Whatever happens, happens.
okay. Well, with all of that, whatever happens is going to happen, and all of that will happen soon. So, right. I have no idea where I was going with that, but there you go. I'm clearly on edge today,
Oh, man,
fearful for
sorry.
my life that I'm going to be put into jail. So let's not think about that. Let's talk about Brian, because Brian is cool and Brian's doing lots of things at the moment in the musical theatre world, being very musical. Brian, maybe you should tell all of our lovely guests. Maybe you should tell all of our
Wow.
Right.
Brian, maybe you should tell all of our lovely guests what it is that you do or what your background is.
No, he's the guest. Maybe you should tell all of our lovely listeners. I swear to God, you just saw a brain fart live.
Not with us.
Are you having a stroke right now?
I'm having. Oh, what? Oh dear, there goes my arm. Okay. Okay, and take 6. So, Brian, I think
Hi.
we need to learn more about you now. So maybe tell all of our listeners all about what it is that you do and what your background is.
So, hello. I'm
Hello.
I'm I'm addressing the guests, and actually, thank you very much.
Very good. Sorry.
I am an actor and multi-instrumentalist. I primarily do musical theatre, but I'm doing a show in Edinburgh Fringe, which is awesome, in August. It's a new musical. It's a new musical written by Amy Claire Tasker and Tom McGrath, and it's about Queen Joanna of Castile, who was the eldest daughter of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, and it was their marriage that created the Kingdom of Spain as we know it today.
As well as sending Columbus on his way.
Yeah, that was just it. Like they were not good people.
No.
It was through this marriage that's what created they funded Columbus to go out to the Americas. They also started the Spanish Inquisition, which is renowned for not being the nicest thing in the world. Joanna was also the elder sister of Catherine of Aragon, who, if you aren't aware, is one of the many wives of Henry VIII. So a lot going on in this, but she was renowned for being a lot more forward thinking. She was actively against the Spanish Inquisition itself. She wasn't entirely for the whole sending of Columbus, but there wasn't really much she could say because she didn't really hold much power in the fact that she would inevitably inherit some kind of title. But because she was so actively against everything that was being done, as a way to try and get rid of her, Ferdinand and Isabella married her off to to the Archduke of Flanders, who was Philip, known as Philip the Handsome.
And is that who you're playing, Brian?
Funnily enough, the term handsome was actually a misnomer. He wasn't a handsome person at all. That's who I'm playing, yes. I am playing Philip of Flanders, which is really cool. He was not a very nice person either. The whole show is actually, it's very, very heavy, but the whole concept was she was known throughout in the history of Spain for as Joanna la Loca, Joanna the Mad. But it's only really been in the last 20 years people started asking, was she actually mad or was she just dicked over by absolutely everyone in her entire life? And evidence, and as you'd expect, it actually turns out to be she was screwed over by absolutely everyone in her entire life, because she gets married off to try as a way to silence her. Philip ends up being a bit of a dick, also tries to silence her, and then one by one her her younger sisters, either through illness or through war, all of her siblings end up dying, and then her mother, who was the rightful queen of Castile, passed away as well. So suddenly, boom, here comes Joanna, now the rightful queen of Castile. So all she had to do was wait for her dad, who was the king of Aragon, to pass away, and then boom, she's now the queen of Spain. And
amazing.
Well, I don't want to go too much into detail because I do.
That's a fairly good scope, Brian.
It's
the same kind of thing was done by Henry to his wives, right? Like it was a very common thing at the time. You want to get the women out of the way, so you declare them mad, and then you push them out.
Yeah, or decapitate their heads.
Yeah, well,
or create an entire religion just so you can invent divorce.
I'm down with that.
Perfect.
So Brian, I don't need to invent a religion to be down with that.
Tell us, Brian, where is it happening, and when can people see it? Where can people see it?
So it's going to be on. We've got 2 previews in London on the 26th and 27th of July at the Lion and Unicorn Theatre in Kentish Town, which is going to be class. We did a run of it last year, and it's a great space, really nice venue. It's just a lovely room to be in. So it's there on the 26th and 27th of July, and then it is going straight up to Edinburgh. We're going up on the 29th, and we're going to be in the Zoo Southside up until the 24th of August. Every single day.
Wow.
And that's for the Fringe Fest.
The Edinburgh Fringe Festival, yeah.
Amazing. So you're doing the whole Fringe Festival, the whole run. Amazing. Wow. You'll be tired.
I'm going to be broken. It is. I was exhausted after the 5 days of it. We did it last year, and I'm just like mentally preparing and blessing myself, and just like, oh God, help me, Jesus.
Yeah, but a full run at Fringe is really impressive.
I'm so excited, absolutely so excited. I've gone up to Edinburgh many times as a viewer, but this is my first time as a performer, so it's
nice.
Superb. That's really exciting. And tell us, Brian, how long is the play?
The play is an hour.
Okay, great, super.
So for those that are worried, I don't know if I could deal with 3 hours of heavy European consolidation politics. No, it's just an hour.
It's just an hour.
And
Yep.
it really, it just, it's like, it's actually quite nice for about 20 minutes. So,
Okay. And there's some
Wouldn't sell
singing.
it.
There's some singing. Is there some dancing?
there's movement. I wouldn't call it dancing, no.
Okay. No
But I've
pirouettes for
heard
Brian.
I've heard some of the soundtracks. They released a single for this, and it's fantastic, folks. I would highly recommend.
Maybe
I
we should have a
wish.
little listen. Let's have a listen.
Joanna, why must you pout? Why must you chide me? Why must you find every reason to fight? When we embrace, you bristle beside me, treating my kindness with spite. But you know that I care for you. You should know that I care for you.
That sounded great. Really cool. Oh my goodness. Can't wait to hear that in live theaters. That's very
Very
exciting.
impressive.
It's good. No, it's a great show. Honestly, it's absolutely fantastically written show. The two of them are brilliant.
Anytime we're talking with performers, though, I've always asked this question, which is, how did you get into doing performance theater as your sort of chosen mode?
So I started off just as I started off playing the piano when I was about 3 or 4 or something like that, and then I was kind of always surrounded by music my entire life, and then just one of my best friends was in Loughrea Youth Theatre in my nearest town, and he said you should give it a go. So I signed up for that. I think when I was like 7 or 8. Did that the whole way through school. Then eventually decided I'm going to do music and performance professionally. So moved down to Cork to do a bachelor's in classical piano, and that was where I met the lovely Eamon when he was doing his degree in the Crawford School of Art or College of Art or whatever it was called.
Yeah. 100
And
years
then
ago.
what?
100 years ago.
You were just mere babes.
We were. We were.
Yeah, we
I
actually,
was grey then too, so it's not much of a difference for
yeah,
me.
I was just looking at the two of us, and I was like, actually, we look fairly well for two
We
people.
do. We
Over
do.
10 years.
For two artists who have survived the last 12 years post graduation, yes, we do look quite well.
So it's Eamon the handsome and Brian the handsome.
Oh yes, and I
Yes.
was.
But you
But
do understand they were using rye wit back then, right?
Oh yeah,
So,
no, I'm fully aware. He had what's it? The Habsburg. He was
Yeah.
Philip was Habsburg.
yeah, they were horribly disfigured because of inbreeding.
Yeah, it was like he had the Habsburg jaw, and that's why he was known as Philip the Handsome. Because again, that was not the case.
okay.
That's why they
Dear.
cast me, obviously.
Catch the show in July in London, and if you are at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, do go and see Brian in his wonderful production, which will be on for the entire run of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. So
And
check
for those
check that out.
Americans in the audience, Fringe Festival is as cool as it gets. Stuff runs for a month. Being
Yes.
invited there and getting to a full run is like the highest honor you can get when you're doing the equivalent of like off, off, off. And the whole point is to be off, off, off Broadway to do cool stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what Fringe is all about.
Indeed, absolutely, and the Queen is mad at Zoo Southside. So do check that out, and lots of great things have started at the Fringe. Just so you know, did Phoebe Waller-Bridge? She did some great stuff there. Watch this space because Brian Raff might be on your TV screens quite soon.
That's right. You might be
HBO,
saying,
watch
I remember
out.
when I saw him on Spilling the Artsy,
Yeah, exactly.
and now he's in big lights.
He is.
God willing.
Yeah, I have a couple of. I remember Brian and I when I was doing like my Photoshop tutorials or whatever when I was like in my undergrad, and you had to do mock-up designs of things. I did a cool mock-up design of a movie that Brian was in. Must dig that out. That was very funny.
You should have pulled that out for
He was
this.
like hiding between a curtain, and it was just like I don't know,
Brian
some
Raff.
sort of a blockbuster, epic.
Well,
The
maybe
Brian
you'll find it and
Raftery
insert it.
experience. Yeah, it was very cool. It was very cool.
Very
Well,
lovely.
I feel that's all we have time for today. But thank you very much, Brian, for spilling the RT with us.
Having me, lads.
Thank you. Thank you. Remember,
Thanks
do
for
like,
coming
share,
on.
subscribe. Tell everybody. Make sure that you get all of your friends to come and watch Spill the RT. Make sure you go to www.newacollective.com where you can see all of our artist stuff, all of our latest updates, and everything art. So, yes, until next week, stay creative. Bye.